Very good morning. Welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV this Tuesday morning. I'm Ashwarya with you. Let us start the Breakfast News with the top headlines. BJP member Bhupendra Yadav to initiate motion of thanks on President's address in Rajya Sabha today. Lok Sabha to continue debate on the motion. Aircraft Amendment Bill 2019 to also be moved in the lower house. After a third case, Kerala declares coronavirus outbreak a state calamity. State cabinet discusses measures to control infection. Death toll in China reaches 425. WHO predicts 60% rise in cancer cases by 2040. Predicts 1 in 15 Indians will die of cancer. Vice President Naidu advocates healthy lifestyle to combat menace. Prime Minister Modi to campaign in Delhi elections, PM to address election rally in Dwarka. Congress leader Rahul Gandhi to also campaign. Aam Aadmi Party to release manifesto today. First up, our look at all the parliamentary business in both houses of parliament today. BJP MP Bhupendra Yadav will move the motion of thanks on President's address in Rajya Sabha today. The motion will be seconded by MP Sudhanshu Trivedi. The upper house could not take up discussion on motion of thanks on the President's address on Monday amid protests by the opposition parties. And further discussion on the motion of thanks on the President's address will continue in the Lok Sabha today. The discussion began yesterday in the post-lunch session. The debate was initiated by BJP MP Pravesh Sahib Singh, and members from various parties took part in the debate and spoke on a range of issues. And in some legislative business, Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri will move the Aircraft Amendment Bill 2020 for introduction. The bill aims to amend the Aircraft Act 1934. The proposed amendments will fulfill the safety requirements of this International Civil Aviation Organization and enable these regulatory bodies in the civil aviation sector in India to become more effective. All right, let's get all the updates. Kriti Mishra is now joining us live from Parliament. A very good morning, Kriti. Kriti, talking first about Rajya Sabha, we saw the upper house being adjourned, after opposition created a ruckus. There was sloganeering against the Citizenship Amendment Law and also the NRC. And the chairman yesterday had appealed to the members to allow the house to function. What can we expect in the upper house today?
Well, Ashwarya, you may recall that yesterday, Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu apprised the members that Business Advisory Committee has allotted 12 hours for discussion on motion of thanks on President's address. But remember, yesterday the opposition insisted on a separate discussion on CAA, NRC and also NPR. The opposition demanded that this issue should be taken up under Rule 267. The chair, however, clarified that all these issues could be discussed in detail while discussing the motion of thanks on President's address because there were specific references to CAA in the President's address. So today we hope that the discussion on motion of thanks on President's address commences in the upper house, and it is expected that Bhupendra Yadav will commence the discussion that would be supported and seconded by Sudhanshu Trivedi. Over to you, Ashwarya.
And Kriti, talking about Lok Sabha, we saw the Lok Sabha, there was an initiation of the motion of thanks on the President's address yesterday in the post-lunch session. What can we expect in the lower house today?
Well, absolutely, Ashwarya. In the lower house yesterday, the discussion on motion of thanks on President's address that took place, and of course that was initiated by member Pravesh Verma. He also hit out at the opposition, lashed out on the opposition on several issues and also enumerated achievements of the government. He also said that this government has vision, whether it was about abrogation of Article 370 or CAA. While the other opposition members hit out at the government and up the ante against the government on several issues, including CAA and also on economy. Now, this important discussion is likely to continue in the Lok Sabha today. And the other important bill that would be introduced in the lower house is the Aircraft Amendment Bill that proposes amendments to Aircraft Act of 1934 and also provides for better safety and coordination between several civil aviation authorities, including the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, the Bureau of Civil Aviation Security, Authority and also Aircraft Accident Investigation Agency. So a very important bill that would be introduced in the lower house today. Aishwarya?
All right, Kriti. Thank you so much for all those updates there on Parliament. And business of the upper house was paralysed on Monday following a protest by the opposition over the Citizenship Amendment Act, the National Population Register and the National Register of Citizens. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu appealed to the members to allow the House to function and stressed that the issues could be raised during discussion on motion of thanks to the President's address. Here is a look at this report.
Rajya Sabha witnessed repeated disruptions on Monday as members from opposition parties demanded a debate on the Citizenship Amendment Act and NPR. Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu disallowed the notice under Rules 267 to take up discussion by suspending the business of the House. He clarified that all the issues could be raised during discussion on motion of thanks on the President's address.
I have received notices from Sri Ghulam Nabi Azad, Sri Anand Sharma, Sri K.K. Ragesh, T.K. Rangarajan, Sri Satish Chandra Misra, Sri D.K. Oberyn, Sri Yadamaram Karim and Sri Binay Viswam under Rule 267 to discuss about the NPR, NRC following the Citizenship Amendment Act. And I have also received call attention notices from Sri Dr. Subramania Swamy and also Sri R.K. Sinha regarding the related issue. I have gone through it and I have come to the conclusion there is no need to suspend the Rule 267 and take up discussion because there are enough opportunities is there in the presidential address discussion that is there before the House and members. They can take care of their concern during the discussion of the presidential motion because in the presidential motion itself also there is a specific reference about the Citizenship Amendment Bill and related issues. Members can take that opportunity and then participate in the discussion depending on their party's choice and also the members' willingness.
As the disruptions continued, 0 hour and question hour were washed out.
House stands adjourned till 2 p.m.
Similar scenes were witnessed in the post-lunch session as well.
सदन ऑर्डर में आ जाए प्रस्ताव रखने से पहले मेरा आपसे आग्रह है कि सदन एक बार ऑर्डर में आ जाएगा सदन 1 घंटे के लिए 3 बजे तक स्थगित होता.
As the protests continued, Deputy Chairman adjourned the House till Tuesday.
The House stands adjourned till 11 hours on Tuesday, the 4th February 2020.
Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And report of the ad hoc committee on the issue of child pornography and its effect on the society as a whole was tabled in the upper house on Monday. The ad hoc committee of the Rajya Sabha was formed at the behest of Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu. The committee has made 40 far-reaching recommendations to prevent sexual abuse of children and to contain the access to and the transmission of child pornography content on social media.
A report of the ad hoc committee on the issue of child pornography and its effect on society as a whole was tabled in the upper house on Monday.
Sir, with your kind permission, I rise to lay on the table a copy of the report in English and Hindi of the ad hoc committee constituted to study the alarming issue of child pornography and its effect on society as a whole.
Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu complimented the members of the committee for timely presentation of the report.
On behalf of the House and on my own behalf, I would like to compliment the chairman of this ad hoc committee, Sri Jairam Ramesh, and the 14 members cutting across party lines who have served as the members of this committee for their timely and also exceptional, exemplary report they have given to this House. I will be looking forward to an earliest opportunity to discuss the report and also move on.
The initiative of Chairman Naidu in setting up of such a committee to examine and report on an issue of such a wider social concern is the first of its kind and has been widely appreciated. The 40 recommendations made by the ad hoc committee relate to adoption of a broader definition of child pornography, controlling children's access to such content, containing generation and dissemination of child sexual abuse material, making accountable the internet service providers and online platforms for denying access to children and removing such obscene content from online sites, besides monitoring, detection and removal of content. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Let's get to some other news now. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman has said that the money raised through disinvestment will be used to develop infrastructure in the country. She said that the money will have a multiplier effect on the economy by creating infrastructure and not bringing revenue deficit. Addressing the industry chamber FICCI, Nirmala Sitharaman said that when the government puts money in infrastructure, it has a cascading effect and it gives rise to economic activity. She said that import of those medical equipment which are not made in India will come at duty, but duty collected will be utilized to fund creating medical infrastructure in aspirational districts where there are not good hospitals. The government has set an ambitious disinvestment target of 2.1 lakh crore rupees for the next financial year, which includes selling stake in BPCL and Life Insurance Corporation of India.
We are coming up with activities, we are putting money where assets will be created. When government puts money in infrastructure, of course it has cascading effect. And when particularly government sets itself a disinvestment target, which many immediately would say, oh my God, are you going to be able to achieve it? It's not just a question of achieving it, it's also a question of showing clearly that that achievement of getting that money, which many easily would say, selling family silver. But that money is not going off to something as fancy as a revenue expenditure item, but it's going into creating greater infrastructure for the country, which would probably have a lot more multiplier effect in terms of economic activity than to keep an inefficient public sector. Largely, there are some efficient ones also which are being put on the block.
And on to some other news. The centre has approved a 6,000 crore rupees multi-purpose project in Jammu and Kashmir's Kathua district. The project will provide uninterrupted water for irrigation to farmers and to produce power. It was decided at a high-level meeting that the work for the multi-purpose project will start immediately. For this purpose, the administration of the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir also has offered to come forward with a suitable DPR. The project will store around 781 million cubic meters of water. And after the completion of the project, the utilization of waters of the eastern rivers allotted to India as per the Indus Water Treaty would be enhanced by utilizing the flow that presently goes across the border to Pakistan. We'll take a very short break here. We'll be back with more news on the other side. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back after the break. You're watching the Breakfast News, and now it is time to get all the action from the upcoming Delhi Assembly elections. As the date for the Delhi Assembly elections is nearing, political parties and their stalwarts are leaving no stone unturned to gather maximum support. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address a public meeting in Dwarka in the evening today. Now, this is Prime Minister's second election rally in the national capital for the Assembly elections. Yesterday, the Prime Minister addressed an election rally at CBD grounds in Karkarduma. And addressing the rally, the Prime Minister said that the anti-CAA protests in Silampur, Jamia Nagar and Shaheen Bagh are not a coincidence, but a political design aimed at harming the harmony of the country. The Prime Minister also alleged that the Aam Aadmi Party and the Congress were provoking people and misinforming them.
सिलमपुर हो, जामिया हो या फिर शाहीन बाग, बीते कई दिनों से सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट बिल को लेकर प्रदर्शन हुए। क्या ये प्रदर्शन सिर्फ एक संयोग है? जी नहीं, ये संयोग नहीं, ये एक प्रयोग है। इसके पीछे राजनीति का एक ऐसा डिजाइन है जो राष्ट्र के सौहार्द को खंडित करने के इरादे रखता है। ये सिर्फ एक कानून का विरोध होता तो सरकार के तमाम आश्वासनों के बाद ये समाप्त हो जाना चाहिए था, लेकिन आम आदमी पार्टी और कांग्रेस राजनीति का खेल खेल रहे हैं और वो सारी बातें अब उजागर हो चुकी है। संविधान और तिरंगे को सामने रखते हुए ज्ञान बांटा जा रहा है और असली साजिश से ध्यान हटाया जा रहा है।
Indeed, all the political parties are fielding their star campaigners to woo the voters. Union Home Minister Amit Shah will address a public rally in several parts of Delhi today, in Delhi Cant, in Patel Nagar and Timarpur. Amit Shah will also hold a roadshow in Moti Nagar. BJP President JP Nadda will also campaign for the party in the national capital, holding multiple events across the day. In the evening, he will address an election rally in Lodhi Road. And Congress party leader Rahul Gandhi will also address 2 election rallies in Jangpura and in Sangam, Bihar. Priyanka Gandhi will also share stage with Rahul Gandhi in Sangam, Bihar. And senior Congress leader Dr. Manmohan Singh will hold an election rally in Rajouri Garden. Aam Aadmi Party will also release its manifesto for the assembly polls today. The party has said that the manifesto will be based on 10 key points. The party is also looking to intensify its campaign in the final 3 days before the campaigning closes. Meanwhile, the Election Commission, led by Chief Election Commissioner Sunil Arora, on Monday reviewed the preparations for the Delhi Assembly elections. Chief Secretaries, DGPs and senior officers of the neighbouring states like Haryana and Uttar Pradesh, nodal officers from the Ministries of Home Affairs and Railways as well as the CRPF were present during the review meeting. The Chief Election Commissioner stressed on preventing illegal movement of cash, liquor, arms and antisocial elements. The Commission emphasized on the need to take strict action against violators. The poll panel also advised the officers to ensure due facilitation of cashless treatment if required to the security forces deployed on election duty. Remember, Delhi will go to polls on 8th of February and the results will be out on 11th of February. And now the latest on the status of coronavirus. The Government of India has constituted a task force to prevent the spread of the coronavirus infection in our country. The task force comprises of Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, Minister of State for Home Affairs G. Kishan Reddy and Civil Aviation Minister Hardeep Singh Puri. The group of ministers is formed to review, monitor and evaluate the preparedness to contain the deadly coronavirus infection. And the first meeting of this group was held on Monday. The ministers were apprised of the 3 confirmed cases that have been reported from Kerala and the preventive steps and measures being taken to contain the coronavirus. Meanwhile, Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister, Dr. P.K. Mishra, on Monday also reviewed the situation in the country and the arrangements for the approximately 600 evacuees. Meanwhile, in China, the death toll from the coronavirus has now risen to 425, with the total number of cases now standing at more than 20,000. World Cancer Day is being observed today to raise awareness about the disease. The latest report released by the World Health Organization or the WHO has warned that 1 in 10 Indians will develop cancer during their lifetime and 1 in 15 Indians will die of cancer. The report said that there were an estimated 11.6 lakh new cancer cases and 7,84,800 cancer deaths in India in 2018. According to the report, the 6 most common cancer types in India are breast cancer, oral cancer, cervical cancer, lung cancer, stomach cancer, and colorectal cancer. Together, these account for 49% of all the new cancer cases. Meanwhile, in a Twitter message, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu called upon the medical fraternity and experts to raise awareness on cancer prevention among people. He said that a greater focus and attention must be paid towards early detection, diagnosis, and the treatment of cancer. And now let's talk about environment and climate change. Tea Research Association is developing climate-resilient tea clones, which can sustain the rise in temperature and low rainfall in the tea-producing areas of Upper Assam and mitigate the impact of climate change on tea production. The Tea Board is implementing a mitigation program in partnership with the Korean organization Global Green Growth Initiative. Tea plants are replacing large tracts of forests in the foothills of Nagaland and Arunachal Pradesh, with areas being brought under tea cultivation. The destruction of habitat in the region is leading to ecological crisis affecting the tea industry as well. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Breakfast News. But before we go, take a look at the prevailing weather conditions across major cities in the country. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day ahead.